I know that recently in the last 10 or 11 days, there has been huge U.S. foreign policy changes that includes the capture of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela and now the rhetoric and narratives regarding Iran. We know that in the 12-day war, U.S. Authorities and U.S. military was seen helping Israel and coming to the attacking of nuclear facilities in Iran. I know that these are old news, but I want to re-emphasize that Iran is the modern day theocracy, which means a system of government where religious authority rules the state, either directly by a clergy or by leaders who claim their political power comes from God or divine law. I want to come with Norman Floyd Burns on his take on the matter.
Greetings this morning from Washington, D.C. It's Sunday here, but the world is very busy right now. Apparently, the U.S. has put its finger into the Middle East again. Iran is under a crisis situation. They have blacked out all global communications, internet, telephone, televisions, and whatever, while they are dealing with an internal protest. This protest is involving the government and the people, and basically, the United States has made comments and has basically stated that they will not tolerate the Iranian government persecuting and killing their people. To the consequence of that, there has actually been issues and actually things are going on right now to suppress the uh, uprising and the protests, and threats has been made to the United States from the government of Iran that if any type of U.S. intervention will be involved, the president of the United States mentioned that they will intervene. How that's going to happen, we don't know. But they are threatening war against the Israelis' territories, Israel, and U.S. military installations globally around the world. They mentioned that they will respond if the United States intervene with their internal protests. So right now we innovate in the verge of another conflict. The U.S. has prepared countermeasures and response to that. So I believe there will be some more issues dealing with the U.S. and Iran coming up in the next 72 hours. So we have to sit here and watch this scenario goes play over again. I do not understand. I do not know why the United States, is meddling in with internal affairs unless they have a plan. And that plan hasn't been expressed to the Congress, to the people, to the world. Thank you.
What is the scenario? I mean, of course, in the last 10 or 11 days, the U.S. has positions all over the world, the news and the stories. But if you come into the U.S. States, there has been this shooting, and of course, people, a part of the people is, of course, coming out in support of the life who was actually killed, Renee Good, and there are some who are loyalists to the current government. I want to understand what is the position, how do the administration going to handle this matter? Norman Floyd Burns.
Uh, Thank you for the question. This is a very contentious question. It's very sad that we are now in 2026 looking at a situation like this. Uh, the Trump administration has utilized the immigration policy of ridding unwanted immigrants to the point where they are now federalizing the military, the federal troops, and everybody else in a state of siege. Basically, we are basically going out and seeking these illegal aliens. I call aliens, immigrants, people, the unwanted, the undesired. And because of this, we are now having our federal agents, in some cases the military, in a state of high alertness. Because of this situation, they are now engaging their neighbors. I said neighbors. Basically, you have these agents are products of these communities. They live here and they breathe. That's why they wear the covers or whatever to avoid this identification. The problem is that now, without clear policy definitions, the agents are going out there doing the work of the Trump administration. They are eradicating, they are harassing people, they are profiling people, they are removing people based on a profile, not definitely a criminal matter, but a profile. You look like or you could be, so we will attack you and remove you. Reminiscence of the 1930s in Germany. We're seeing history repeat itself. People are not going to take this laying down. They are now questioning, challenging, and engaging these officers. These officers have been trained in a certain way regarding the use of force, engagements, and they are not trained to deal with this and deal with the common people. So basically, I use the metaphor a hammer. You create a hammer. The military, the police, they're acting like a hammer. And they have been giving instructions to look for nails. So everything is out there looks like a nail. So any type of movement, inference, resistance is looks like a nail, and their training is designed to suppress that. Unfortunately, when situations like this case with Miss Good was a tragic situation, it was apparent from the videos and all angles. And I actually, I'm gonna tell you, I've been in that same situation where actually a vehicle has tried to run me over. You have to make a nanosecond decision on what to do and how to deal with that. Unfortunately, the wrong time, right situation came up. This officer was involved in a similar situation previously. We don't know what's going on, but the problem here is it's unfair for everyone because the situation has basically been concluded by the government. The Secretary of Homeland Security, the vice president, the president has already exonerated this guy, basically saying it was a righteous shooting. So right now, and you add in the situation, the FBI has not permitted the locals to be involved, engaged in the situation. So now the trust factor, the conspiracy matter heightened, it gets worse. People are not liking this. They are protesting. So now they do not trust the government. They do not trust the government in their safety, their livelihood, and what's best for them. So now you're going to see protests, you're going to see incidents, and you're going to see additional situations like this. They're not going to stop the way. You're going to have different challenges. People are going to challenge more. You're going to see more incidents like this happen. And they're going to push and push and push the government to the point where they have to make a decision. Is it going to be us against them? Now, there's theories out there that the government is trying to entice or aggregate or intimidate the people to the point where they have an uprising, and the government will come in and suppress that. Well, that will backfire. That will be a black swan. I don't think it's going to happen in the manner in which they think it can happen, that we can suppress any type of uprising. The people is resolved with the advent of AVN, artificial intelligence, and everything else. We may see a mess here, the beginning of an internal civil war. Remember, we have artificial intelligence and technology. There are people out here who can do the same thing to the government. They can do the same thing and everything else. And we have external actors, we have internal actors, and we have a lot of people who do not like the government right now. So my question is, why are we antagonizing the people? Why are we antagonizing the people? We need to take care of our country, our people, and hopefully we can come to level heads, calm down, and go to the point where we have an understanding. But again, I keep preaching. What is the plan? What is the Trump administration plan dealing with domestic, international, and global issues? That has not been clear. So until that happens, there will be this area of trust, distrust, mistrust, and conspiracy theory regarding what is the ultimate goal here. What do we want to do? So right now we're in a high level of mistrust. And again, we're looking at Iran. We better look at the U.S.
Last year's August, the two leaders of the two nations, US and Russia, were seen to be meeting, but that meeting had made sure that Russia be bolstered against the Ukraine war. Given this scenario in Venezuela, we also hear remarks from the Danish leader that they will open fire before any kind of dialogue when it comes to Greenland. And of course, let's look at NATO, let's look at the Russia-Ukraine war. I want to understand how Norman Floyd Barnes feels about this very recent comment and these tanker seizures, which of course is carrying oil. I mean, is this another pirates versus pirates for the plunder of gold, or for the plunder, in this case, that would be oil? I want to understand from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Thank you for the question. But in a very simple nutshell, everything we're seeing now regarding the Western Hemisphere is in regards to the United States plans to dominate and control trade and commerce, goods and services, and the livelihood of the Western Hemisphere. The goal of the United States government, the goal of the Trump administration, is to have a clear dominance of the Western Hemisphere, this portion of the world. So Greenland falls right into it because of the location, the ice caps are melting. They're looking at the Arctic Circle and the sea routes, the military situation, how close it is to Russia, China, and the issue again, we back to rare minerals and oil. There are rare minerals, there are precious minerals that are not found in other parts of the world. They want to have control and dominance of. So all of these actions, all of these things between Latin America and whatever is regarding resources, controlling the resources and controlling and try to basically get the countries to not have a relationship with China and Russia. China has a big input into Latin America and South America, just like Africa. And they are providing soft power. They are providing infrastructure development to the point to get in so they have input. The United States feel that this is too close to the homeland, that they're getting too close to our continental area. And so their plan is to rid Russia and China from the entire Western Hemisphere. So anything grossly associated with that, they are now putting pressures on these countries to basically do my way or no way. The U.S. is using military and other trade sanctions to basically squeeze these countries to the point where we don't want you to deal with anybody else but the United States. So if you decide to have business with other countries, we will create problems for you. We'll make sure your economy fails. We'll make sure your people uprise. We'll make sure that your government is removed. So right now we're in a very precarious situation. This dominance of the Western Hemisphere is coming more pronounced, and people, governments are now reconsidering their relationship with the United States and how they're going to move forward. At the same time, China, as the alternative, is sitting by and waiting, say, hey, I told you so. Come over to us. We'll take care of you. We won't treat you this way. And we can do things, we can do more business at a point where you can afford it, and your lifestyle and your quality of life will be enhanced instead of right now living in a state of siege. Thank you.
I must
Can I
thank.
respond
Sure,
one second?
please, Mr. John
Norman,
Dutton.
one of the other things that we have is how the currencies can affect this American Pax Americana, this
Yes.
whole idea. And we have BRICS, which is Brazil, now saying that they will accept payment of yuan from China on all of their transactions, pay all of their debts, pay for the cost of infrastructure. Can you want to comment a little bit about that? How that, that's not really on the ground, but it's having definitely material effect.
That is well, that is one of the issues that's not spoken about. We're moving into a more digital age, what's going on, and BRICS creates. They want to downplay that BRICS is not going to affect the dollar. But it is. You just mentioned there's an alternative. I don't have to deal with the petrodollar. I can deal with the alternative. We can still do business, and we can probably do more business, and we can do it at a cheaper rate. So right now, the dollar is being threatened, the use of the dollar. That is part of the overall dominance. Is basically if I have an alternative, I don't have to use dollars. I can use something else. And the BRIC nations are basically coming together, and they're trying to put. You don't have to take this. You can use the BRICS money, the whatever currency we have, and we can still do good business. You don't have to be bullied by the big bad United States, and we can do that. So there's a movement with particularly with the digital switch over to digital currency that now there will be a more competitive way, and the dollar will lose its value, which is causing heartache for the United States and its quest for dominance.
Yeah, see, just a quick follow-up.
Sure.
The IMF has now allowed yuan to be a reserve currency. In the past, everybody wanted dollars as a reserve currency, and it was a stabilizing effect and so forth. But now the yuan is also listed, not as much as the U.S., but it's still now listed by the IMF as a eligible reserve currency. So, as Norman has been pointed out about de-dollarization and American power through money, and the fact that now we have digital ability to move money back and forth,
Right.
this is going to be something that's going to have to watch very, very carefully and could undermine some of Trump's hubris.
Of course, I really enjoy the fact that we all can discuss from across continents and, of course, in the studio. And ladies and gentlemen, they were, of course, talking about the de-dollarization process regarding Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, those who make up the BRICS. I want to have another question due to time restraint. I must ask this to Norman Floyd Barnes. As we were talking about all of these issues, we know that the nuclear capacity or capable missile system, the Reznik hypersonic missile, had been used by the Russian counterpart on Ukraine in an overnight missile attack. Of course, it had struck the city of Lviv, which is just on the border with Poland. But at this moment, the Ukraine-Russia war is not dragging on, or it's not garnering any kind of foreign attention to this matter, especially in the lieu of Greenland and how NATO could be affected because of the U.S. intention of the Western Hemisphere. I want your closing statement regarding this and whether you can predict this may be the year of the World War III, or if likewise situation can resume. I want to understand from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Well, that's a great big prediction. My crystal ball is not that clear right now, but there's a lot of stuff, a lot of smoke, a lot of situations leading up to what's going on right now. We're going to basically go through this year dealing with conflicts. We were dealing with unresolved issues. There may be more flare-ups. There be maybe I don't know what's going to happen with Iran. That's going to be a big thing. The use of weapons, the use of hypersonic technology is going to be a game changer. There's rumors that these technologies are already in place in Latin America. There's rumors that they are in place in the Middle East, and everything is on target, is on the table right now. So we're going to see a lot more incidents, I predict, coming up this year. There are a lot more confrontations. I do not think we're going to the point of World War III, because the big three, Iran, excuse me, the Russia, China, and the United States have a ideology that they have a common agreement on how to deal with the overall big picture. But beneath that, there will be a lot more incidents that is going to involve regional matters, local matters, and it's going to cause a lot of problems and concern to trade and commerce. But the biggest thing right now is how will the world adjust and adapt to this? Because right now, everybody is in a state of siege and no one knows what's going on. So that's going to affect trade, commerce, and good business practices. Right now, we are basically holding our breath, and hopefully they're not coming for me. I'm not going to be hit tomorrow. I'm not going to be invaded tomorrow. No one's going to try to take my country, take my resources, whatever.